Before there was ever an indecisive Peter Weber, there was another Peter in Bachelor Nation that wanted to spice things up as the show's leading man. And it honestly became the most dramatic casting yet. This is your Bachelor Brief. So we all remember who Peter Kraus is, right? He came in second on Rachel Lindsay's season of The Bachelorette, and we all assumed he'd be the next Bachelor. And it looks like he almost was, but in a shocking twist, Ari took the spot. Now, 3 years later, Peter revealed what went down behind the scenes while negotiating his quest for love on reality TV. During an interview on the Ben and Ashley I Almost Famous podcast, Peter admitted that he rejected Bachelor producers a whopping 3 times, claiming they tried to get him to break up with the woman he was seeing.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So they asked me to be the Bachelor, and I said no, like a straight up no. And a couple weeks later, they called and made it a little bit more formal, and I again said no. And then we were out in New York for Good Morning America after the final rose, and they asked me there, and again I said no. And by that time, I was starting to talk to a girl, and had feelings for her. They asked, again for a third time, flew me out to LA to talk about it really like straight up, and told them I'd started to talk to someone, and they said, well, are you guys in a relationship? And I said no. Like, okay, well, would you be willing to leave that or exit that? And I wasn't sure. So then we really started talking about like the details of the show itself and how it was really hard for me, and I couldn't say I would for sure be able to get in an engagement at the end. It wasn't that I knew for a fact that I didn't want to. It was more I couldn't promise them that I would, and I didn't want to be forced to do it if I said yes to the show.
And then when the topic of compensation came up, Peter then had to remind producers that he made way more money in real life than they were offering him.
There's a lot of back and forth in this meeting that we had, and money was never discussed until we got to the actual compensation. And I said, well, I make considerably more than that already per year. Why would I give up, in my thoughts, like the rest of my life to be known as Peter the Bachelor and no longer just Peter for the amount of money that isn't life-changing?
Peter also noted that there were a few things he wanted to do differently on the show.
I'll just tell you straight up, I wanted to be able to spend more time with people individually. I wanted to be able to just like go into the house and see people in their natural habitat. So that way it didn't feel like they were putting on a show for me. It was more like, this is who you actually are when you're unsuspecting of what, or not what, but where I'm at. I wanted relationship counseling for myself and the top like 4 or 5 girls during the process. So that way we could work things out on a deep level. And then I wanted continued support for myself and that person that I chose after the fact.
TBH, we would have loved to see all those changes happen, but producers just couldn't compromise, and that was the end for Peter. Back when all this Bachelor drama was going down in 2017, fan favorite Ali Fedotowsky told us why she thought Peter wasn't casted. And man, did she hit the nail right on the head.
Oh yeah, I think everyone wanted Peter. I think they definitely did want Peter. I definitely don't think Ari was the choice over Peter, because like people weren't even thinking about Ari. Peter didn't want it, or he was playing a little bit of hardball, and I think that was the case. I think the problem, and this is why I'm so excited for it to be Ari, the problem with contestants when they come off the show, everyone, and this, I feel like I went through the same thing, is that you almost feel a little bit of entitlement after the show. You feel like, oh, everyone like wants my picture and like wants my interview and to talk to me, and you're just like, wow, I must be really important that all these people want to talk to me. It like brainwashes you in a way, right? Even no matter how grounded you are, a little of this happens. And so I feel like maybe like you then realize like, oh, I'm going to play some hardball. Like ABC
Negotiation.
wants me, you better pay up, you better give me some money. And then also I think Peter had the experience of not being ready, feeling ready to propose. And I'm sure they talked to him and said like, you have to propose if we give you this. And I'm sure he had hesitations there. So I don't blame him for not wanting to do it right away. I think Peter's great. I think, you know, he even did like an Instagram post saying that he believed that, you know, he gave up an opportunity. And I think he did give up an opportunity.